So yeah.
All right. Hello.
Hi, how are you, Mamadou?
I'm super. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm glad that we're doing this again,
Absolutely.
keeping up with the times and commitments. So what's the story today? What are we going to talk about? You want to talk about portals?
Yes, yes. Yesterday,
Or do
we were
you
supposed
have
to.
something, if you have something specifically that you want to talk about, we can do that
No,
too.
I wanted to talk to you about because I know we're both into the numerology of things, and yesterday was 2/2/2022. So I thought that was really cool, and I want to spend the whole day just kind of resting and focusing on me.
Yeah, pretty intense. Well, as far as my method goes, because I was guided to work with numerology in my own way. So I'm not saying that my way is the right way, but it's a perspective. It was to use the repetition of the numbers to determine the different portals that we're going to be crossing throughout the month. And what I use is oracles. I use different oracles. I use astrology, numerology, and tarot. And so far, I feel that it's pretty in tune with whatever is going on from an astrological perspective. So, in the portals that I came out with was a major portal from 2 till the 22. So, February 2nd till the 22nd. And that brings the repetition of the number 2 3 times, which is the same number of the year, 2022. So basically, the information that I got was that this month is going to contain pretty much all the frequencies of the whole entire year. So it's going to be cramped up in this month of February. And the one major frequency that we were going to have to deal with was transformation. Because it just happens, which I didn't know when I had this download, was that we were going to have this thing called the return of Pluto. Had no idea because I'm not an astrologer. So apparently, Pluto moves around all the zodiac signs and it takes about 248 years. And no one can live long enough to experience what it's like a return of Pluto. So, according to astrology, we're going to have Pluto come back to the same sign that started this trajectory 248 years ago, which happened to be, I believe, in 1776, I think, or 77, I think it was 1776. And that was when the United States became, a whole family of states, or basically the United States was created. So supposedly this return is going to bring a major transformation in the consciousness of this country, because that's what Pluto does. It's all about change and transformation. Of course, we need to keep in mind that we are all going to be affected in our own particular way, because in the way that you're changing may be slightly different to the way I'm changing. But it's a major thing. We're talking about major transformation. So my prediction was, well, this is a month where it's going to feel quite intense because there's a lot of scorpionic energy, or plutonian energy, which is all about death and transformation, death and transformation, death and transformation. You know what I mean? Like, so, that sort of makes the energy spin really fast, where you can have an idea, and if you don't have the focus to ground that idea, it can just leave you, and you're kind of in this sort of vortex of energy where it feels like there's no grasping. You know what I mean? It's all,
Hmm.
everything feels like it's passing by, and you're just kind of in the middle of it, being pulled in every direction. So
That
there.
hits. No, that's pretty much it. I'm trying to decide, like, is excitement pulling me this way, or is fear pushing me away from something, and I'm coming up with excuses? And I'm
Yeah.
like, I'm just reminded to ground myself and just look within and see what brings me the most joy in the moment. Because, we've talked about that over the years, but sometimes it's like,
Yeah.
wait, is this fear or is this intuition? Like, is this intuition telling me to work on this today because it'll benefit tomorrow, or is this fear talking you out of something because it's too big or too scary? So right now I'm doing a little bit of everything just to kind of tip my toe in each one, and whichever one excites me, I go yes. Or sometimes my newest thing is, if I am afraid of something, find out why. Like if it's like the things that bring me fear and worry that I might not be good enough or it might not work, that's what I want to focus on. Because everything else is easy. Like, if you can do something, you're not afraid to do it. So it's a comfort place. You're like, yeah, it's safe. But you don't grow there. You have to challenge yourself. And like we talked about that
Sure.
mountain a lot, taking that first step in the mountain. And then ever
Yeah.
since we had that chat, I've really been. And then also, like, we always talk about me, I'm a big picture guy. It's like, what can this do? How big can this be? What is this going to do for me someday? Versus just taking a step. Like each step
Right.
gets you closer to the top of the mountain. And no, but those energies you talk about, yeah, I'm already pretty much, already over the cosmos running around and floating, but
Well,
it's
that's pretty
fun.
much what we're doing. That's pretty much what we're doing. We're in the middle of the cosmos trying to grasp ideas. I mean, the thing about it is that whatever we're doing right now is basically the structure of what the new world is going to be about. So we are creating this concept of a new world as we speak. Okay. So, we're going through this major transformation and we're leaving behind an old way of doing things. So, yes, you're right. We are in the middle of the cosmos. Ooh, I just felt that. I just felt like all of a sudden, whoa. So, and we don't think about those things, but we're floating in the cosmos, right? And only gravity is keeping us grounded here, right? And we're trying to grasp these new frequencies and working on how to translate them in a way that makes sense so that we can apply them into our lives. And it's not an easy thing to do. I mean, when you're doing something that requires you to pay attention but you don't know exactly how you need to do it, it's a lot more difficult and challenging than when you already know the process. So every process that we're exploring right now is going to determine whether we're going to apply it in the future.
True.
So, and you were saying about how it is that, you're paying attention to your challenges and your fears and trying to address them. And that's a great thing to do. But there is an easier way where you don't even have to go there. Like you don't have to try to analyze those emotions in order for you, unless you really need to, because it's going to benefit you. But you don't always have to, because there's another there's another way in which your body as an operating system can give you that information without you really trying.
Mm.
And it's this inner knowing, right? Inner knowing is something that you just know without needing to explain. You know what I mean? Like you just don't have to analyze it because your body knows what it knows, and every part of you gets it all at once. So when you have a challenge or a fear, just by recognizing that it's a fear, your body has the capacity to work through that fear and neutralize it as long as your analytical mind doesn't get involved. So your body has that ability to do it for
Mm.
you. So that's an easier way. And I mean easier just because it doesn't require you to get involved, and in that desire to know or that curiosity get stuck in all the emotions that sometimes we get involved that can totally distract us from letting go or from whatever we're trying to achieve, right? So another way.
True, true, true.
It's pretty cool. I mean, there's a lot happening that is fascinating, but there's also a lot happening that it doesn't feel great, because there's a mixed bag of this incredible frequencies and energies together with a lot of the shit and the garbage that we've been dragging
Mm.
for eons, and everything is happening at once, and there's no getting away from it. We're kind of like in the middle of a time or space, so to speak, that it's like you're trying to swim from one continent to the next, and there's areas where the water is very muddy, it's very contaminated with toxic waste, and there's no way around it. You just got to go through it.
Well, let me ask before we wrap everything. I was gonna say you mentioned the portal. You said between the 2nd and the 22nd. Was that correct? So what?
Yeah, and there's just
Go
Mhm.
ahead.
Go ahead.
No, you said there's two. What?
Within that portal there's two. So there's a major portal from 222nd 2 to the 22nd, and then there are two that divide that portal, and it's one from 2 to the 11th, and
Mm,
11th to the 22nd.
gotcha.
So there are certain frequencies that we're going to be working with, and I think the other half of the month, depending on your sign, is where it's going to get really intense, especially because of the full moon influence. But this has a lot to do with taking initiatives and how you direct those initiatives in relationship to the ones that you've done before. And it's this process of elimination and purification that is taking place.
Okay. Well, once we're cognizant of the portals, what kind of work would you suggest to do right now, or what would be more powerful to focus our intentions on?
Shoot, I think the priority is be yourself. This is not a time to pretend or trying to make other people happy. Just be yourself. You have an operating system that knows exactly what you need to do and how you need to do it. So be present with yourself, pay attention to what your body's telling you. Don't try to force things, because your operating systems will guide you in a way that will tell you this is what you need to focus on, and it may not agree with the mind. So be yourself, make sure that your mind and your heart are in unison, working together, even though they may not agree. But collaboration between your head and your heart is really important, so that you can smooth, some of the bumpiness, and through this time. And I feel, and follow your highest excitement, just like you're saying, like, look, I'm not perfect, things are not always working out, but my priority is how I feel about them. Am I feeling good? That's important. If I'm not feeling so good, okay, what can I do to feel better? Not to pay attention of how bad it feels. It's about being present. This doesn't really feel good, but what can I do now to feel better? Because it really is simplifying the formula in a way where, because if the energy is moving really quickly and you're taking too much time to address all the little details, it's like the energy is pulling you, which is basically what happened, because this is kind of how we move in this reality. So very different when you are working with the vibrations, right, as to being pulled by that energy. It's like being dragged. So, my thing is, hey, be yourself, follow your highest excitement. It's not a time to repeat what other people are doing. It's a time for you to express yourself the best that you can. And yes, there are people that are not going to agree with you, but who cares?
Well, on that note, I think we should end there because that answered a lot for me, and yeah. So I think that's a great stopping point. As always, you always make me feel better afterwards. That's mine. I mean, let me reach out to Sandra and see how she's doing. What Mama Star is doing
Hey,
today.
thank you for having faith and hanging in there, kiddo. I think you're great.
Oh, Molly, it's a reflection of the energy we've shared over the years. You're a part of the creation, as I say.
hey, so are you. It takes, we got to have both, playing the game. Otherwise, it's just not the same. Let's go create. That's called co-creating. It's all about co-creating, and that's one aspect of this portal, is that you cannot do it alone. You need other people to help you out, because you cannot have the recognitions or the epiphanies that you're having unless you don't have someone else or something else to compare it to. So
Mm.
I love you, kiddo.
Love you too,
Thank
Mama
you
Star.
for doing this.
Right
I
on.
love it. All
Peace.
right.